Welcome to the First 40 Sports Show with the Goon Squad, Blackdoor, Icewater, and yours truly, Puma. 11 days until the Rihanna halftime Super Bowl show. Gotta send a special shout out to Pop. It's his 80th, and wishing you many, many, many more. And so gotta send that out to him. He's a partner here with the Goon Squad. We're going to be talking about the NFL playoffs, the Super Bowl coming up. The Denver Broncos and Houston Texans have a new coach. And I want to talk about, we haven't been on for the last couple of weeks, Ed Reed and the situation he's been going through at Bethune-Cookman. It's just crazy. And of course, we're going to talk about college basketball, the NBA, questions from the Goon Squad. But let's start off with the NFL eye test. And Black, I know you've been watching the playoffs. I know there's a week before the Super Bowl. And what are some of the things that really kind of stood out in watching the playoffs with the Final Four, and now we have two?
Yeah, I'll start with the Final Four, man. It's interesting where you go back to the week prior to the Cowboys and the 49ers. And, man, it's hard to understand a team like the Cowboys. I guess it's not hard to understand because I heard people the past couple of weeks or shortly after give Jerry Jones a tough time, a hard time. I'm saying to myself, how can you blame Jerry Jones, bro? He's put a good product out there on the field, man. I know he hasn't won, but Jerry, you look at that defense, you look at that offense, bro, they should get it done. And I know you don't want to say one person throws a game, but Dak Prescott, he plays a quarterback position like a rookie, bro. To be 7 years in, some of the mistakes he make, he does things to where he's looking at CeeDee Lamb. He basically, when he walks into the line of scrimmage, he determines, I'm going to CeeDee Lamb. No matter what else is going on, I'm going to CeeDee Lamb. And that's, to me, is a rookie mindset. And I'm happy he has his money. You look at Zeke Elliott still getting paid handsomely. Zeke, I don't know what happened. It's like Zeke is playing with one calf instead of two. So I don't understand how you can blame Jerry Jones when it comes down to this. And then they turn around and they let Kellen Moore go. When I first saw that, I was like, okay, this guy, to me, is game. I mean, I'm not going to say he shouldn't run the ball more often. I'm not going to say that. But I believe that the Cowboys' mindset with Jerry Jones, they want to throw one. I think Kellen Moore is going to do a hell of a job in the Chargers. I really do. I think he's going to light that offense up, bro. Now, with that being said, I got a funny feeling that the Dallas Cowboys are lining up the defensive coordinator to take over that head coaching job. They cleaned house for the most part with coordinators. They kept what's the name around, the head coach around. But I got a funny feeling. Dan Quinn, I mean, he wasn't even allowed to interview. Now, if it's true or not, I heard this, he's making $9 million a year as defensive coordinator, bro. Think about that for a second. $9 million. He's on his way to basically stepping in. They're facing Cincinnati and Buffalo. I mean, Buffalo, to me, I'm going to start calling them fakers, bro. I mean, I know what happened with Hamlin. I'm going to give you that. But that team, to me, came out of the gate, Super Bowl or bust. They're not put together well enough to win. Josh Allen, he does some miraculous things from time to time, and then he does some bonehead stuff that just kind of gets in the way. There's no running game. That defense is not that good. So moving this past weekend, man, I gotta give San Francisco, even though they lost, that's got to be the best team of reluctance that there is. I mean, this team finds a way to come back from anything, man. And Josh Johnson, bro, don't even sign up for another team, bro. You done been at 14 teams. I get tired of people that have opportunities to basically do something with them, and you find a way to kind of piss it away, bro. That was your chance to step up in a game and do something, and you weren't prepared, so I don't know when it's going to happen again. Philly looks for real, man. They look for real, that offense, the way they maneuver that offense, their defense is solid. And I don't know what San Fran was thinking at the beginning of the game. And I think Josh Purdy, I think it finally, even before he got hurt, I kind of see that look in his eyes. I think the moment was too big for him. But you can't not basically take the best defensive player of the year and put tight ends on him. A number two tight end on him to block. Bro, what are you doing? I mean, who did that on the offensive line? I'm not sure. But Kansas City and Cincinnati, bro, I'm just going to, to me, Mahomes is just something beyond what I've ever seen as a quarterback, bro. This cat runs around. You think he's like a snake. You have him by the neck, and he's wiggling. All of a sudden, When you think you basically snap his neck, he finds a way to throw a dagger in your heart, man. I know that game track was closer than what it was, but to me, Kansas City was always in control of that game. I know some people want to blame Burrows for throwing that last interception. I'm going to blame the play calling. You just had 8-yard run, basically get you back to what, 3rd and 2? You got 2 downs to get 2 yards, bro. Run the fucking ball. Excuse my language. Run. Why are you throwing a bomb? Why are you going to play with going for a bomb and a double team? Run the ball, get a first. All you needed was a field goal, and you're going to the Super Bowl. That's all you needed. You didn't need some miraculous play down the field. But it's hard for me to believe, man. See somebody beat Kansas City, bro. Because Mahomes, if he could do that to you on one good ankle, good googly moogly, man. Yeah. And we know our boy, the enemy, is out of there, man. So if he's not getting a head coaching job, his name is popping up to be offensive coordinator in other places. One of them is Washington. We'll see what happens, but I don't think head coaching jobs in his future. Sorry if I got a little long, but that was my wrap. What's going on with the NFL?
No problem. Ice, I wanted to get your views on the Final Four, and then I wanted to get your views on, the Super Bowl coming up. I know we're going to talk more about it in the week to come, but I want to get your views on it.
Yeah, when you look at the Final Four, man, it was supposed to be some great situations, right? The Bengals. We start with the Bengals and Kansas City. Very good game. Sometimes though you know how Mahomes is, right? We know how he is. We know what it's about. But then you ask yourself, can he really pull us off with the injuries? You know what I'm saying? Can he really pull us off? And the Bengals just really felt like they were in charge of everything because they had somewhat felt like they dominated the Bengals. They had dominated the Chiefs. But Mahomes was like, you know what, man? It's one of them things that you just kind of go, I don't know what's going on next, and can we get this done? And that's just how it was. So it was a good game. I think Mahomes showed you they really wanted a little bit more. And part of it was, here's what we got to do to get it done. And the Bengals, I think they just thought they were going to win it just because, right? Everything was lined up on paper for them. He had all the injuries. Kelsey supposedly hurt with the back injury. And then you had a Bengals, basically, you thought they had the game won. And then you turn around, and what do? One of their guys at the very last minute makes the biggest mistake you can make in football.
Sorry, yeah.
The biggest mistake you can make in football. And it's like, wow, how do you do that? But, it's that was interesting. But the Philadelphia game, Philadelphia's feeling really good right now. I still need to see more from Jalen Hurts. I really do. And I know people are talking about that, but I think they're going to get a handful when it comes to Kansas City. And San Francisco, I liked them all year long, but when you lose your quarterback and then your quarterback has to come back in because another guy got hurt, it's not a great chance for you to win. That defense is nasty. If they can hold almost everybody together, question is, who the hell gonna be the quarterback? But
that's what I'm wondering.
If they can keep it all together and add a few more pieces, they can be very dangerous. But you went from down to the so-called Mr. Irrelevant, who did a hell of a job. Now you got was it Lance?
Lance
and then
Garoppolo.
They probably let Garoppolo go because they got that. But I mean, with all that's being said and who has shown you whatever, it's going to be a hell of a training camp. But I just think I love their defense. And I think they got a lot of weapons on offense, McCaffrey. But when they get it all together, they're going to be dangerous to play. And then when you get down to the Super Bowl, though, like I said, I literally believe that. I mean, I like Philadelphia, but Kansas City been to the dance. My question is, can Philadelphia rise to the occasion and not get caught, with the looking around like, oh my goodness, is this stage too big for us? Because you got to score. They have a great defense, but we know, as everybody said, we talk about that Magic Mahomes and what he can do, and you giving those guys 2 weeks to be healthy and they get the wide receivers back. It's gonna be a hell of a game. And how does it go? How apropos that Andy Reid is going to face Philadelphia.
Yeah. and you got two black men in the Super Bowl for the first time. You know, I text that to you guys right after the game. I would have liked to see San Francisco with healthy quarterbacks battle Philadelphia. You want to see a better game with that. But what really surprised me, Black, was how much the Kansas City defense really stepped up in the last couple of games, because that was, in my opinion, the Achilles heels of the Kansas City football team. Their defense, you know, usually kind of let you down, but they really stepped up, and especially in the last game against Burrows, they really stepped up. And they didn't play great all the time, but they played great when they had to play great, and made stops when they had to make stops. And so I wanted you to speak on that a little bit, if you can.
You know, it's interesting. It almost seemed like, I know they had a lot of rookies in the back end playing, and let's face it, that monster up front, I can't think of his name right now, number 95, that cat, man. I remember he stuck to the microphone the week before, like during the week. He said, Burrowtown, Burrowhead, we're going to show you about Burrowhead. He wasn't playing, man. He got after Burrow the whole entire game. And, you know, I'm listening to you say that about their defense, and I look at the defensive coordinator. Let's not forget, this cat has won 2 Super Bowls as a defensive coordinator. Something about him, when he gets in the playoffs, he coordinates different, bro. He just does. And you're right. Sometimes their defense look like it's lackluster, like they don't really want to be out there. You know, teams are going up and down the field on them. But he gets him in the playoffs, and he turns it up, bro. I know he was a head coach for a period of time. That's just not his calling. But he does, man. He dials it up. And that's what he did to the Patriots twice when they were unstoppable as a defensive coordinator. So I'm not surprised, bro. I'm not surprised that defense is basically tuned up and they're doing their thing. Not at all.
Yeah, I was really surprised, and that kind of scared me a little bit about Kansas City. But right now, they seem to be on all cylinders, and I'm looking forward to the Super Bowl. I'm looking forward to seeing what Kansas City can do. We had 2 coaching changes so far. There may be more coming up. I know the big story that folks are talking about is Tom Brady retiring again, but I don't believe it really. But we'll see. We'll give it about 2 or 3 weeks. But before we get to that, Ice, I wanted to get to you about the defense, the Kansas City defense. A lot of people aren't talking about the defense and how they really kind of did some good things. I won't say great things, but good things during the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what you need. I mean, you can talk about being number 1 defense, you can talk about being number 2 defense or in the top 10. But at the end of the day, in big games, it's about this. It's about, did your team step up and make plays? And people have been ragging on the Kansas City defense all year long for good reason, right? Good reason. But again, they made Joe Burrow's life a living hell. They literally did. And he's been killing them all year long with Chase and everything like that too. But when they needed plays, Kansas City's defense stepped up. So the question is, can they do the same thing when they play against Philadelphia? And I think they can. And I'm going to tell you why, because I think the factor that all the things that they've been, the adversity they face with the injuries and things like that too, the defense kind of takes it personal. And this is why I think part of the sports, the part of sports that people don't understand, the chemistry and how people get hyped and they rally around men. Men rally one another. People don't understand that. If you ever played on a real good team where you like, man, we struggling tonight, but man, them dudes got our back and they playing above their heads and we know how they are. When you get that going like that, because you know Cincinnati thought they had it done. Mahomes was like, dude, I'm on half a leg. I could barely stand up. You know, I can't run. And Kelsey, like, my back is killing me. Defense like, dude, we can get 1 or 2 turnovers and play. We can make it to the next game and he's going to take us home. That's football to me. That's sports. That lets you know right then and there, this team is ready. Because Bengals knew they hadn't won. They were already calling the stadium what they did and counting it, you know, talking about buying the Super Bowl tickets and everything like that too. So I like that effort from Kansas City, even though the adversity that they faced.
Yeah, and shout out to the Cincinnati mayor getting them hyped up even more.
Hey, you know it's bad when Kelsey dogged him, and Kelsey went to the University of Cincinnati.
Yeah. He said, know your role.
That was stupid, bro.
That was real stupid. Anyway, two coaching changes. I'll go back to you, Ice. Coach Rhines for the Texans. I thought it was a black thing. I was wrong. I admit that. They got a black coach. They have the defensive coordinator, or former defensive coordinator of the San Francisco 49ers. And Sean Payton, I was really surprised he took the Denver job. But I want to ask you, who makes out like a bandit in these jobs right now?
I mean, are we talking about the teams?
The coaches and the teams.
Wow. I probably have to say Houston. And one thing for the record, Houston does not have a problem with the Rooney Rule. It's clear. They just didn't choose the right dude. They've been choosing the wrong dudes. But I think that this coach, he's young. He's a former player for Houston. They have to let him coach, though. He has a high, he's a high motor, came off a great situation with San Francisco. You got to give him enough time, got to give him some room to let him coach, bring some players in there that really want to play for him. But I think they made off, and I think they got lucky because not too many times you hear people talking about going back to the Texans, right? Ever since the DeAndre Hopkins debacle, the Sean Watson situation, which might have been on him too. But you haven't heard a lot of people talking about, ooh, I want to go back to Houston. And if a guy says he want to go back to Houston and turn it around, good for them. That Denver thing, I had to admit, I'm surprised Sean Payton took it. I am. I think they must have paid him crazy money or something, because the job, if it was me and they haven't said it yet, and then maybe they won't, I'd have ran out to LA and coached the Chargers. That's what I would have done. Because I think you get that quarterback right and get him the right situation, they could be a different team. But Denver with Russell Wilson, I mean, I would say, look, we need some wide receivers and then I'll go. But hey, Sean Payton think he can start, create miracles. I don't know though. I think that was it. I'd say Houston right now. Trying to think anybody else that was worthwhile. And you can say what you want to. I think I'll leave this at this. San Francisco's not crazy. I think they're going to end up, they're talking about trying to interview Wilkes from Carolina as a possible defensive coordinator, which would be a hell of a match.
Black, what do you think? Who made out like a bandit with the Houston Texans and the Denver Broncos, whether the coaches or the teams?
I think Houston did too, man. I'm going to give it to Houston. They got the #1 draft pick coming their way, if I'm not mistaken. A nice young head coach. And that team is not that bad. I'm not saying they can't use some help with the players and talent, but I think you bring a young head coach in there, some young players get infused, some chemistry. I think they can turn things around. I think they can kind of get things going in the right direction. And I think he will. I think he definitely will. The players, when you look at their defense, man, they love to play for him, bro. They literally play like they were running through a wall for the head coach, bro. That's the kind of feeling that they gave off when it comes in terms of him. I look at Sean Payton, and I see this with the Sean Payton deal. I think Sean Payton would have nobody else wanted him. I honestly believe that, man. Sean Payton made the calls, bounced around. No one else wanted him. And I'm going to say this. The Walmart clan bought their Broncos. They don't know what the hell they're doing. You done invested way too much money into Russell Wilson. And this is where, to me, why I think a lot of teams, part of the reason why a lot of teams didn't want Payton. He's under contract for he was under contract for one more year to the Saints. Then he was a free coach. So if you wanted him, wait a year or whatever. Denver gave up a first-round pick. Now imagine you already stuck with Russell Wilson. You have a first-round pick, a second-round pick for a head coach. Say what you want. He's not putting pads out there, run out there, tackle anybody, run the ball. He's not. When other teams probably looked at us like, no, we're not doing that. You're not worth it. I mean, he's an egotistical guy, in my opinion. And I think that's why a lot of teams kind of looked at him. They might have talked a little bit like, nah, maybe next year. And so the Denver Broncos are the only team that was kind of, in my opinion, dumb enough to give it up for him. But I don't think it's going to make a difference. I really don't, man. I just don't. I think Sean Payton had a good run in New Orleans, and that window kind of closed up. He didn't coach much better after that. When Drew Brees, he kind of rode that train a little too long. Good luck turning Russ around, because I think Russ is basically done.
I can say another word about Denver. Desperate. They were really desperate to get somebody in there, and this kind of showed how desperate they were to give up those picks that they really need to kind of build that football team again. Ed Reed, I'm gonna stay with you on this, Black, because I've been watching this story for a few weeks, and when Ed Reed came out with that video, really kind of expressing his displeasure with what Bethune-Cookman was doing, and me and Ice had talked about it weeks before, that when things aren't right, they're just not right. And Bethune-Cookman, I think, got egg on their face. They were embarrassed, and they decided to let this go. Since then, the students have been protesting about the conditions of the school, things of that sort. And I said it before, and I'll say it again. It's us. It's us. We got to get our stuff together. And sometimes we're not ready for success, and we're not ready to take it to the next level when we get the opportunity. Black?
My mother used to say years ago, monkey see, monkey do. One monkey's doing something, they'll go follow that monkey. And I look at, Bethune-Cookman, they looked at what, Prime did, or what's the name. Okay, you still got to get your act together, bro. You still got to, you know what I mean? You just can't think because you hire a former NFL player, Hall of Famer to be a head coach, all of a sudden you turn around and you become great. You still got to clean up your foundation. Now, only thing I'm gonna say about this, Ed Reed, bro, after you came out with that video, you should have been ready to walk away. Because there ain't no way in the world, man. You can't shoot up that kitchen and expect to go cook in it. You can't do it. So I didn't understand it. So to me, I'm thinking, was Ed Reed high when he did that video? Was something going on with him? Because after you've done that, how you gonna sit down and negotiate with them at this point? Negotiate what, bro? There's no negotiate. So that's the only thing to me that kind of really tripped me out, because, bro, you basically cut them off at the knees, and what you said was right, and it need to be put out there. But expect to walk away. You can't come back home after that, man. You can't come back home and negotiate a contract with the same people that you don't reel up like, nah, and took the kitchen and pulled the stove out and knocked down the refrigerator, empty out the cupboard. Bro, I'm sorry. When you saw that going there, you should just say, I don't have no interest in this job, in my opinion. Let them be if they're gonna be, but you're right, man. HBCUs got to stop acting like they're second-class schools. Until you turn that around, you're always going to be treated as such. And I heard this a long time ago, but someone was telling me, which kind of blew my mind years ago. Howard University is like the ghetto, bro. The ghetto. And people, if you don't go and visit, you would think, how is this pristine, clean school? It's the ghetto. I'm going to say that again. It's the ghetto. So when our people decide to give our people better, maybe they will get better. But I don't think we're going to see another head coach like will come in that's willing to basically come underneath, work through the rubbish, and come out clean. That may not happen again, bro.
Ice, your thoughts on this, man?
Yeah, when I saw it, my heart just kind of hurt, man, because I'm all about the HBCU, but I also know how conditions can be at the schools. And there were times that we were at lovely Wilberforce University, things wasn't always kosher.
No.
When we was complaining and fighting and wanting to be better. And even now we want it to be better for the students because we want to keep that legacy going. And a lot of things have happened, but we're still striving. But I think it's almost to me as if Ed Reed was shocked when he got down there, and I don't know who to believe, but I also watched an interview with Reggie Theus, former NBA, a star, and also now the AD and the head basketball coach, down at Bethune, and he more or less said he brought Ed Reed down. Ed Reed saw the campus, he knew what was going on, and it could have been better. He said the other part that surprised him was that they did not expect Ed Reed to come down there and move in, right? He said Ed Reed was coming down there to talk to some players and host some people or whatever. And it's not an excuse because he said it should have been better. But he said that we thought he was going to come down, meet with some people, and then bounce. He came down there, he said came down there and stayed. And he's like, you here early, when do you have a contract yet? We didn't sign a contract. You down here talking to the kids and doing whatever. He's like, can we get a contract? But overall, I think Ed Reed's heart is in the right place. I really do believe that. I think he really wanted to make a difference. And I think he could have made a difference. Because like Deion, he has connections. He could do this. I think he mentioned about Shaquille O'Neal, some other people to bring some real money in there and some other folks. But he also, I think part of that, he has to really learn what it means to be a professional coach. And you just can't come off because it's us talking about whatever. This damn potato salad ain't no damn good. This mother, you can't come in here, man, and talk about the setup and the festivities, and then you see your whole family came, and now don't nobody want you around. You can't come in like that, bro. I mean, you could have just been cool with it, but I think he took it personal because he really felt like he could make a difference. But after a while, it was like, especially a guy like Reggie Theus, pretty Reggie Theus, he wasn't gonna let him come back. He wasn't gonna let him go. He's like, well, I'm just about being professional. And when you go over above the line that Ed did, there's no turning back. It's one of them dudes, man. No matter what he said, he can say something so elegant. And the dude from around the way just wanted to smack the hell out of that cat, bro. You pretty, blah, blah, blah. And you're just mad. And he got you, right? But he still wanted to just wait for him to come out around the corner. Blah! But we digress. You can't do that. So Ed Reed, if you do this again, bro, you got to do a little training and understand that you're a hell of an athlete, seem like a hell of a dude. But when it comes to running things and being from a professional standpoint, despite the ghettoism of others, you got to come with a plan to be a little bit more high end. One thing you say what you want to about Deion Sanders and how sometimes he can be, bona fide high class country, as they say. But Deion knows the game, and Deion knows how to work with people and get people to do things because he understands the classy part about it too. Say what you want to. He understands that. That's the reason why he's the head coach at Colorado. He understands the game and he plays it well. Ed, you might want to go out there and volunteer, bro.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be a bad, I'm just keeping it 100. Yeah. It wouldn't be a bad thing. You ain't got to say nothing. You just be in the mix, understanding what they're going through the motions, volunteering. Who in the hell, think about that, man. Think about that. If you are a cornerback or a safety, Ed Reed said, I'm going to go out here, get some work in, just kind of work on my game. If you're a cornerback or safety, you got probably one of the greatest corners ever. And Ed Reed is the safety, bro. You got Ed Reed and Deion Sanders coaching you, bro. Damn, I'm going out there. I lost all my eligibility. Dude, that would be exciting as hell. So I hope he gets it together. I hope Bethune-Cookman, and I leave this at this last point. Bethune-Cookman, despite what Ed Reed says, a lot of that is real. So Reggie Theus, I understand what you're saying. You're saying you're trying to champion the people, trying to get it together. Don't talk it, bro. Do it. Yeah. Don't talk it. Do it, because we know what it's like to be at HBCU. And when they talk about trash everywhere, people not doing their jobs, we know about that. It happens at other schools too. But don't sit up here and tell me that Ed Reed was lying.
Yeah, especially when the students, it was almost like a catalyst to the students to stand up and finally somebody's listening to them. And that's what really got me, that the students got behind them and like, these conditions are bad. Here are the conditions we live under. Here are the conditions we go to school under. And we've been voicing this for a long time and nobody's been listening. So really, I think it uncovered a lot of stuff. The same thing Deion did to Jackson State. It uncovered a lot of stuff. The students got behind it. And that's when I kind of favored Ed Reed a little bit, even though he went about it a little bit, over the top. I favored him because he was like, hey, I care about these students, not only the football players, but the students that are on campus. And the folks that are in charge aren't really listening to these students, aren't really helping these students. And they're acting like they know these students and they talk to these students every day and they walk through the quads and they don't. And we face that too. We face that too. And so when it's said, it's almost like you're kind of revisiting and reliving the whole experience again. Not to say that our experience at HBCU was all bad. It was some great experiences there, but there's some things you need to clean up, and you need to do right by people, and especially us. And it's sad that we do each other this way. When other people are doing us bad, we do each other even worse sometimes. Black, you were shaking your head, man.
It's just, you said it, man. I can't say any better, bro. I mean, remember years ago when we grew up, there was a phrase, a word, 2 words, Black pride.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't exist anymore, man. It doesn't. It just doesn't exist. And in many, I mean, capacity overall, where is it? Where is it?
Yeah. Let's go to college basketball. And I don't think anybody wants to be number one this year. Every time somebody's number one, I expect Purdue to go down again. They're having a struggle with Penn State right now. But Purdue is number one, followed by Tennessee, Houston. They were number one about a week or two ago. There was one weekend where 11 of the top 25 teams just went down. I mean, went down in one day, one weekend. Houston, number three, followed by Alabama, Arizona, Virginia played a great game in their last outing against Syracuse. I don't know why Boeheim is still coaching, to be perfectly honest. He doesn't coach. He puts a 2-3 zone out there and just sits there with his hand under his chin and watches basketball. He's been watching basketball for 20 years. But Virginia, number 6, followed by Kansas State, who lost to Kansas last night, who's number 8, followed by UCLA, number 9, and Texas, number 10. And they were battling against Baylor recently, who was number 11. Gonzaga, Iowa State, Marquette, TCU, Xavier, who is beating Providence at this particular point, and Providence is right behind them, followed by St. Mary's, FAU, Clemson, Indiana. I've been watching a lot of Indiana lately because I love their point guard. San Diego State, Miami, UConn still hanging in the top 25 at 24, and Auburn at 25. Ice, give me your eye test, man, of college basketball.
And I ain't telling you nothing. I ain't telling you nothing, man.
Well, the fans want to know, baby.
Well, I ain't telling you nothing. No. But as you said, a lot of upsets. I was texting you all the way around. To watch how Houston got beat, then you watch Alabama get beat, and then you just keep watching. You watch teams like Iowa State making moves. It just shows you that there's going to be so much parity. I look at Ohio State. We thought Ohio State was really going to be good with the young guys coming in. They've lost 10 games.
Yeah.
And we are not even in the February yet. 10 games. And one of the things that I already knew about Ohio State is they're young and they really don't have the leadership that they've had in the past where a senior or a young freshman can step on. You have sense of ball, scoring a lot of points, but they don't have them direction. And as like I told you, one of the things that they have a problem with, and other teams have a problem with, when you have big men down low that can play and know how to maneuver the ball and move, and then have guards that can run up, down, and shoot, you're gonna have a problem. That's what I mentioned to you early on. Indiana is gonna be a problem for people. Now they're getting healthy. Coach Woodson is bringing them in, and you watched them. I know you watched them. You've been watching them. I told you about Mr. Savino. Man, as a freshman. They have all the tools. Question is, though, can Coach Woodson get them all the way through? He scares me with that. Sometimes it's like he's tried to be a general and a drill sergeant. And if he dialed back a little bit and just coached them, I think they'll be a little bit better. But a lot of teams have lost. I can't believe, what did you say Texas was?
Texas is at number 10 right now.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So
we got teams, Xavier lost. Marquette's pretty good. Xavier and Marquette are almost mirror-like as far as when it comes to teams. They're like the same team when you look in the mirror, and they're going to cause some problems too. I question this. It's going to be a lot of heartbreak for a lot of people when it comes to the tournament because they're going to choose all the teams in the upper echelon, and once they give you that 4 top seeds and all that, Purdue, yeah, I give you that. But after that, I'm telling you, write this down. Like those listening, write this down. There's going to be a lot of teams that's going to get upset early on as far as the big teams. The big teams, they're going to be a lot of dissension. You're going to say, wow, I didn't know that Creighton could be blah, blah, blah. You're going to see like, I didn't know this team could beat this team or this team, because there's a lot of teams that are out there that are really good and they want it more. I don't know what it is about this year.
Yeah, I start this year when you're watching, like when I watched Indiana and Maryland last night, it seemed like Indiana was having problems with Maryland's length, and they just couldn't kind of turn it on like they wanted to, and they put Indiana in a half-court game, and that kind of concerned me about Indiana because you saw them played some teams really well in the half court, and then Maryland having that length. They don't have like the superstar that really stands out, but they just have that length, and they were just giving Indiana all sorts of problems. Black, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that March Madness is going to be madness indeed, because I think it's going to come down to matchups. Like I was saying with Creighton, watching some of these teams play, it's going to be matchups based on who's playing who. It's going to make it interesting because as you go through your brackets, you go to the next round, you're not sure who may line up. And that's what's going to happen. I think there's going to be a lot of upsets. I think it's going to be upsets to not only teams that we think that could beat other teams. I think some teams that you mentioned right now in the top 5 and the top 10, I don't think they're going to last long, bro. I just don't think they're going to last long. And I remember months ago, or a couple months ago, when UConn was up there number 1, I said to you then, how the hell UConn got to be number 1, bro? Look where they are now. And I'm not saying they're going to fight them and do anything different. But I will say this, though, and this is just me thinking long term. I watched the Texas Baylor game. There's a guard in Baylor, and they said it was like 32 scouts in the audience that night. And that kid, I think his last name is Brown. Don't get me wrong, he's decent. He's not NBA ready, bro. He's not NBA ready. And they're already saying he's going to be the first top 10. He's not NBA ready. He's just not, bro. He's not. His defense is weak. And that's what happens. These players, a lot of them, they're playing to go into the league, and they're already called up for the most part with who's going. And I'm watching, I'm like, they're just not ready. In my opinion, they're not.
Yeah. I really hate it when the scouts and the talking heads on television are really trying to rush these players, even though they're freshmen, sophomore, trying to rush them in the NBA. And you could see that they're just not ready. I guess people are trying to, fixate on the next one, and they want to be right on the next one. And they just let everything else go by. But anything else, I know for me, Virginia is one of those, to me, a dark horse team that can play defense, that can score, that can play half court. They seem like they're the team that can kind of adjust in the game, as well as any team that I've seen in this country. The K-State and Kansas game, you knew that Kansas was going to come back strong on their home court to try to avenge that loss against Kansas State, even though I think Kansas State's going to be a hell of a team coming down the stretch. And that Baylor-Texas matchup was a true matchup that I would like to see again, and maybe in a tournament that they have, I would like to see again. The team that disappointed me a lot is, I don't know what happened to Iowa State, because Iowa State was the team that I saw earlier this year. And Caleb Grind, people are really recognizing that he's the shooter, and they're giving him a hard time, and they're giving him some hard looks. And Iowa State, the other players haven't really stepped up. If you haven't seen Marquette, you want to check them out also. And Providence out of the Big East is a really, really good team. They're moving up. They're playing against Xavier tonight. We'll see. They're down, according to the score right now, they're down by 7 points, but hopefully they will. Matter of fact, no, they're down by 3 points with about 11:50 left in the game. So that's a team that you want to watch. Hopefully they don't put them in the same bracket, so they'll play each other again in the tournament. Another team out of the ACC, Clemson. Keep a close watch on Clemson. And I don't know about Auburn. I really don't know about the SEC teams. It seems like, to me, watching the SEC teams, they're beating each other up. You usually find teams like Kentucky and LSU just coming out of those conferences, but they've been having a hard time this year. Any other thoughts, Black, on college basketball? And then I'll wrap it up with Ice.
I just got this quick little thought, man. When you said Auburn, I'm like, don't be surprised somewhere if they don't do well or make the tournament, don't do well in the tournament. That head coach leaves that team because some type of charge is chasing them. We already know. You're ready. I can see it happening.
All right, Ice.
Yeah, I like TCU. I like the way that they play. They come at they're very gritty. One other team that I like, and they're up and down, but they really have everything that they need. And they might, if they can just kind of calm down. I know they were one of your teams last year, Puma. They may not have the guard play, but the big fellas are playing well, and that's Arizona. I like Arizona this year. I think Arizona's really giving people some problems with their size. I watched them beat UCLA soundly, and UCLA has some very talented guards. They beat them soundly. And it's going to be very interesting from that standpoint because those teams, when they come in, you go to the TCUs of the world, they have no fear. They have no fear of losing. And all it takes is one of the teams in the upper echelon to go cold, start missing free throws, and they turn the game ugly, where you go like 53-47, and that's how they win ball games. That's what the NCAA tournament is all about.
All right, let's go to big boy basketball, the NBA. We have Boston, Milwaukee. Milwaukee is a team that I think that may come out of the East if they can stay healthy. That's the caveat, if they can stay healthy. Followed by Philadelphia, who's 8-2 in the last 10. Brooklyn has taken a skid since KD gone down, followed by Cleveland and Miami. New York is the number 7 team, followed by Atlanta. In the West, you have Denver, Memphis, Sacramento, the Clippers, Golden State moving up to the number 5 spot, followed by Dallas, Phoenix, and Minnesota. And I was sitting there watching the game. I caught this part of the game. I didn't watch the whole game, the overtime game where LeBron is sprawling out on the floor and all that other stuff. And I'm sitting here thinking, it's like, if that was his son doing that, would he accept that being his son sprawling out on the floor, crying about a ref's call, things of that sort? And is this a good example for basketball? Of course not. Those are rhetorical questions. But let me go with Ice first and your assessment of the NBA so far.
The one thing is hard to really think about, and when you see the NBA is you have to ask yourself, is Denver for real? Denver, ever since Golden State struggled this year, Denver's been right there at the top. They find ways to get it done. They get hurt a little bit. They come back. They still find ways to get this done. And I'm wondering is it fool's gold? Remember how Phoenix at one point, last year, a couple years ago, they were like number 1 and rolling through. And then they got popped. I'm waiting for the shoe to drop in Denver. And right now it's not. They just keep playing and getting things done. 7-3 in their last 10. But I'm wondering for it to drop. Memphis is still hanging on. Despite, and I think it's just because the other teams are playing bad. I'm just saying that. And when you watch that, the other part too I have is I keep hearing them talking. And it's like, you want to fight Shannon Sharpe, you want to fight everybody now. It's like, why don't y'all take that energy and put it on the basketball court?
Exactly.
And the factor that the East is, it's kind of, I'll let Black Thor jump on the East because I can talk about that all day. But the factor that Sacramento's number 3 in the West, you can't tell me Mike Brown ain't coaching this. It's off.
Yeah.
Can't tell me that. I mean, think about Sacramento. Name me 5 players on Sacramento right now. I'm waiting.
No Fox. That's it.
Waiting. Still waiting. Okay. That's what I'm talking about. You can't name me 3 players on. Okay. Leave right there. Go on here, Black Door. Y'all check that out.
Good rest of me, man. I'm gonna start with this. All right? I got a couple points after this. Somebody, and I didn't even pay attention here. I just read some of the highlights. Had the audacity to interview the Knicks head coach, and they asked him, "Did he make a good decision?" And the general manager, I think it's Leon Russell, an ex-agent, when he's running the team, and the man basically said, "Well, we're in the playoffs. We're in the playoffs. That's all he said. You still did a good job.
Not yet.
That's all you gotta know, man. That's all you have to know. My man is basically saying, guess what? I'm getting playoff money. We're selling out. I don't care. Then they had the audacity, is he going to sell the Rangers and the Knicks? Why would he? Why? For what reason? He's making he's making money hand over fist. I don't get it. To me, I'm going to sum up what I see in the NBA right now, bro. And the mental toughness is going to basically win out in the end. Not necessarily the talent, mental toughness. So when I see that in the East, like you said, I see Milwaukee, man. If they stay healthy, they're mentally tough. They're going to grind it out. I don't trust, even when Boston's playing well, I don't trust them when they get down to be tough, bro. That cat, he's still, every time he goes for a layup, if anybody looks at him, he's looking at the referee to get a foul. It's like, bro, just go.
Tatum?
Yes. Play your game, Tatum. I'm sorry, man. Stop. Every time you go to the basket, you're not guaranteed to get fouled, bro. And then when you go to the West, I like what Sacramento's doing. But I'm going to tell you this right now. There's only one team over there that's mentally tough. And I know Ice was talking about Denver. They're not mentally tough, bro. They're not. They're gonna fall. They're gonna fall apart like paper. That center is good. Outside of that, they're not there. One team in the West. To me, I'll push my chips in the middle of the table to Golden State, bro. They're gonna find it where it's all said and done to be there. I'm gonna tell you now. It's early what? Early February. Milwaukee, Golden State. The rest of the team's a bunch of fakers, man. I don't care about your 50-point nights, your 70-point night, 8. I don't give a crap. And I'm not even gonna mention this cat's name. I'm gonna say because you brought him to talk about it. Bro, if you're who you are, who you're supposed to be, you and Anthony Davis, a game should not come down to the last second shot. If you're the GOAT, you're all this other stuff people say about you, bro. Don't put it in the ref's hand. We know ref miss calls. I'm sorry, man. And then you got ESPN, their dumbass want to talk about it all day. But did the ref take the game for LeBron? How many games did the refs give LeBron? I'm serious, man. I'm tired of this bullshit of him and Tom Brady both just go away. Go away, man. You mean to tell me if you'd have gave me that foul shot, you're in the playoffs? Like, it's how far you from the playoffs? That's what you be concerned with, bro. Not what the refs are doing. How about get your ass in the playoffs? Because you're not going to make it. Give me a break, man. Seriously. I've never seen, that's like for the most part in football, talking about the Houston Texans every Sunday, like what they're doing. They're not relevant. The Lakers aren't relevant. I don't care who they trade for. They're not relevant. Get off of it. Michael Wilborn said it early in the season. Let's not spend the whole season talking about the Lakers. I'd be damn if ESPN ain't talking about everything LeBron did. I don't care how many points he behind your bar. I don't give a shit. Let's talk about the relevant teams in the NBA. They're not relevant. I don't care who played before, Bob Cousy, whoever played the Lakers before. They're not relevant now. Let's stop giving them the airspace. They don't deserve it. It's not based on what you did 10 years ago. It's what you're doing now. So we should be commenting on. You hear me, Stephen A? You hear me, ESPN? You hear me, Shannon Sharpe? Get over yourselves. We all know you love LeBron.
Yeah, I still don't. I mean, they're in the 13th spot, and I still can't get why people are still talking about them. And then you have the Joker. You know, you can say what you want about Denver, but the Joker's for real. The Joker is for real. And, you know, he's going to slip up and get the MVP again because he's playing some ball. And he goes unnoticed. Averaging a triple-double, all this other stuff, just doing his thing. And Denver doesn't get a lot of press. They don't get enough TV time, in my opinion. Basically, Memphis got punked by Shannon Sharpe, the whole team, and they went like on a dive. They talk too much. They haven't accomplished anything. And so, you know, Denver may not be for real, but Denver's leading, you know, by 2.5 games. And the Joker is for real. He's willing that team to win. Phoenix, I would thought Phoenix would have, you know, I said last year that I thought CP3 should retire no matter what happened last year. And here you go. You got Phoenix. They're at the number 7 spot in the West. You know, Ayton, he may give you a 20-10 game every now and then. He's not going to dominate as a player. Nobody's stepping up. How do you get from you're in the finals to you're in the number 7 spot in the West? With, to me, the West is not all that strong right now. It's not. It's just not. So how do you let that happen? And you're about 8.5 games out of first place. And now Minnesota's on your tail. Help me understand this.
Can I throw something out real quick? Because I wasn't here when you guys, you know, might have hit this. And that's just a quick thing. The Shannon Sharpe Memphis scenario, who's right, who's wrong there? I'm just curious if you had to pick and choose.
I'll let you answer, Ice, because it's something that Shannon Sharpe said a year ago came back to bite him in the ass in this incident. But go ahead.
Wow. I see both sides, but my thing is, I know Shannon Sharpe is a huge Laker fan. I know he is in love with LeBron, right? He gets paid a living to talk about LeBron every day. But after a while, I'm thinking, Shannon, if you're the man you say you are and you representing what you're doing and everybody sees you, how you get caught up in that, bro? Seriously. I mean, you at the Laker game, unless somebody come over and throw water on you or talking about your mom and, you know, or whatever, how are you involved in that? I mean, he's almost as if it's one of these when other people, what they call hood people from around the way, the ghetto fabulous folks don't know how to act when they go out anywhere. It's like, what was it? Even if they said something to you, bro, you on TV every day. You got millions of people following you, watching you. You have such a platform. How you get caught up in that? And I know you want to sit down low, you want to do all that, but why ain't you up in the suite chilling or whatever? I mean, all of that, I just don't understand how he let himself get caught up in that. And I don't know. Then it's like you talking to somebody's dad and you talking to the rest. Dude, the guy I thought had more, and everybody makes mistakes, but I thought he had a lot more composure than that to be caught up in that mess. How does he? That's mess, bro. A lot of mess.
Do you remember when he when folks were going after Westbrook and all that other stuff, the fans and stuff, and he said, "Hey, you know, you're there to sit down and enjoy the game and not," and he fell right into it. He fell right into it. I mean, his own words just it meant nothing. So now you hurt your credibility, bro, when you sit on that television show and talk to the fans about how they should act and all this other stuff, and then you go and do the same thing. That's the same thing I felt about LeBron. About if your child, Bronny, did the same thing with a ref, would you accept that as a parent? And are you a role model at this particular time? I don't think the way you acted on that. I mean, you would have thought somebody died on the court the way you acted, and it's shameful. And it's getting to the point. Rick Barry said it last year. The refs need to call the game according to the rule books. Just call the game according to the rule book. No more preferential treatment to star players and all this stuff. Cut all that out. Because now these guys feel like they're entitled to get calls when they don't get fouled at the end of the game, things of that sort. It's like, it's too much. And I was texting a cousin of mine, and he was like, I was like, I can't watch it anymore. I really can't watch. The NBA is really hard to watch now because I enjoy the college game more because they call it by the rule book. The best team wins. In the NBA, you can kind of see who they want to win in certain games based on the calls. And so Shannon Sharpe fell right into what he said last year about fans being quiet, enjoying the game. You spend a lot of money, you know, let the players and professionals play. You shouldn't get involved. And he got involved. He got all up in his feelings. And that's what I think is a problem with men these days. We're getting too emotional and we're getting all up in our feelings about a lot of stuff. That's not what men do. Like,
you're right on that one, bro. I love to take you two gentlemen on this, but I really do. I'm sorry I wasn't around to comment on this earlier, but I'm gonna go back to kind of piggyback on what I said, bro. I mean, Shannon Sharpe, you're supposed to be better than this, bro. Now, and as you said, Puma, you know, you talk about these other fans. You engaged him in a conversation, and he said, if he said F you, so what? So what? You sat across from a white man that told you your career wasn't shit. You ain't go at him. You ain't go at him. I want to see you fly across the table. The night that he basically was talking like Hammond and Tex, you didn't come in the next. I give you respect for that, bro. But you came in the next thing, and he basically threw it in your face again, and you punked out. So here's my thing, man. Until you ready to stamp that idiot that you work with, don't come at another brother, bro. Don't do it. It's just easy to go after him. He's not LeBron. To run out in the court and act like you want to fight. You got your ass whipped. You would have, bro. I wish homeboy would have took a swipe at you, not him, the center. That was idiotic. You pay to watch the game. You do not pay to provoke the players, get into a fight, and act stupid. The Lakers organization to kick you out that night and ban you from coming to any other future game. You know why they want you there? Because they want the media attention. But any other fan would have done that, guess what? Even if they would have paid to sit on the floor and be able to make sure they wouldn't sit on the floor. You need to keep this in mind, bro. You're paid to do a job. And homeboy call you a blogger, so what? I don't understand it. I like Puma said, get out of your feelings. You know, if you so, man, you know what? You can say that to me all day. I don't care. What does that matter? But you think you're much better than him. You think you're better than him because, yeah, you played football. Of course, he's not in Hall of Fame, but guess what? He has the job to do. Won't you go out there and try to guard LeBron? It's not easy, bro. He's out there trying to work. Let the man work. You forgot about it. He has a job to do. You don't need to be demeaned by you or anyone else. And you should know better than that. Shannon, I love you. But sometimes, man, some of the moves you make, I'm starting to question. I'm really starting to question. Again, until you're ready to stand up to Skip Bayless, keep your fucking mouth shut. I'm serious about this. Stand up to him. I stopped watching you. See, you don't want to guard another white guy. You don't. Because guess what? You're afraid to lose that paycheck. Here's a cat that looks like you. He fought to get in the NBA, fought to get there. It's a privilege for him to be out there. And you want to fight him. It's time for black men to stop fighting your word dumb shit. Get out of your feelings. That was dumb and stupid. Ignorant to be exact.
Questions from the squad. Ice, what's your first question, sir?
Man, I was gonna go serious, but then I was like, man, I'm about to go simple. Just to help y'all. So we all know that we love sports or we've been involved with sports. So my question is, if you can, give me two scenes out of your two of your favorite sports movies.
I needed a warm-up for that one, man.
I got two. I just thought of two. They're funny scenes. So I can go first on this one. The Fish that Saved Pittsburgh, where there was a guy, player named Bullet. He didn't talk. And I think it was Debbie Allen who was in love with Bullet. It's like, Bullet, you so fine. And Bullet would do a magic trick and she would just fall out. The other is North Dallas 40 with AW, and they're looking at a woman's breast, and AW wants the woman's breast. It's like, can I show your breast to my friend? And he holds the woman up over his head.
Damn, boy. You had that.
Those are the first two that kind of come to mind.
I can only give you one, man. It's really more, I don't know if we consider it sports, but the movie, I think it was Raging Bull. Man. With De Niro character was playing the boxer that fought Joe Louis. And he kept saying to him, Joe, I didn't go down. Sugar Ray. Yeah, Joe, I didn't go down. I just always remember that, man. Joe, I didn't go down. Joe. And the way Lewis was looking at him, man, that to me, I've always kind of was like right there.
Yeah, I got so many of them that this show will be 2 hours, all the movie scenes. What's yours, Ice?
Yeah, the basketball movie 1-on-1 with Robbie Benson. Robbie Benson was like this little guy, scored a lot of points from this little small town, and he got basically got dogged out, got lied to for a scholarship. So the coach got him over there, and he went over there for the season, and they just dogged him, beat him up, and all kind of stuff. But then that near the end of the season, he came on and started really being a player that he was. And then the coach changed his tune and says, Mr. Steele, we want to have you back next year playing for our team and being our number one scorer. He said, yeah, I'm gonna come back, but just not here. He said, Coach, you know what? He said, you can stick it where the sun don't shine with a red hot poker. All right, so my other one is I'm a huge Bad News Bear fan, man. I love that. And probably the first one I could go through a lot of stuff, but on the second one, when they were playing in the Astrodome before the game, and then of course they're out there playing, and it took the team forever to try to score, and nobody was scoring. And the announcer comes on and goes, all right, ladies and gentlemen, thank these little guys for coming out here today and playing a really good game. We'll see you next time. Thanks for coming out. And dude was like, what?
Little Tanner,
what the fuck, what? He refused to leave the field. And the players came out too, and they were chasing him all the way around. They refused. He said, we done worked real hard to get here, and you're going to kick us out? And then the team, of course, they get the chant goes, let them play. Yeah. Let them play. And then they play ball. But yeah, man, that was hilarious, because them dudes was like, I've been working my ass off all year, and you were just going to cut the game short so they could play. Yeah, I'm a big Bad News Bears fan, man, big time.
Remember the Great White Hype where the champ, I think it was Damon Wayans, he had a ring, and he threw the ring, and one of his men got it and put it on, and he's like, "Let me see that ring again." He put the ring on. It's like, "Yeah, look good on you, champ." You done came up. There's so many sports movies. Great time. Black.
I understand that the WNBA don't probably get much attention, and I understand that. But this is a story to me I came across. I sent to you gentlemen that I thought should have got a little more pub than this. I mean, Derica Hamby for the Aces basically got traded for the mere fact that she's pregnant. Think about that for a second. Pregnant. What I'm surprised is that no one, I mean, their union said they're going to look into it, you know, it shouldn't be happening, but I'm surprised where this basically dropped when it comes down to women's sports. And it's in their basically their contract, this can't happen. But they basically said to her, they don't think, in so many words, she's not going to be ready to play. She can't practice. And for that reason, they don't want to deal with her anymore. And we see that Candace Parker, they replaced with Candace Parker. For the most part, Candace Parker is actually going to play one more year. But I don't understand it, man. I don't understand it because it just seemed like we're more concerned. I'm not saying us, but like sports media is more concerned that a ref miss a call than women such as her being mistreated in sports, and nobody's saying anything about it.
Ice?
Yeah, but unfortunately, I'm just keep this 100. I agree with you 100%. But the media and a lot of other fans and other people don't give a damn about WNBA. We've been talking about this forever. They don't give a damn. So for them to be all humanistic and really care about somebody that, you know, trying to do the right thing, and then they lose their job or get sent on their way for something like being pregnant, it does not surprise me. I've always said they've seen that league as a second class type situation. They've, you know, to the point of where, like I said, when they first put them out there, the only reason they put them in the summertime because only the arenas were closed before the circus. Now the circus no longer exist. So with all that being said, that's how they do it. The same way too, when you look at now that Brittany Griner has these issues with security, she's trying to get them to have charter planes. Notice the WNBA has said not one damn word about it. Brittany Griner said, I'll spend my own money with NIL and whatever, and other people say they'll do the same thing. Notice WNBA didn't say they was doing that shit. Y'all can keep going, riding charters, jumping 3 and 4 planes, y'all 6, 8 cells, figuring it out, hope you get up in first class. If they have first class, oftentimes called business class. So it does surprise me. They don't give a damn, bro. They never have. Again, simply put, they don't make enough money. And it's sad, but it's real.
If women supported the WNBA would be a successful league. So this proves to me that women don't watch, don't care, and don't support the WNBA. Men aren't going to watch the WNBA in droves like they watch the NBA in men's sports. And so you'll have some men who will watch it, no doubt, but women don't support it. So I'm not surprised that the story fell flat because women aren't paying attention. They're not paying attention. They don't support it. They don't watch it. So again, if women supported the WNBA, this story would be front and center with every other story, but they don't. They don't, and I'm sorry. And I'm not saying it's a bad league. I'm not saying that I don't support it. I'm saying that if women in the majority, and the women are a majority of the population in this country when it comes to gender and male and female, they don't watch it, they don't support it, they don't care.
Now, I think you two make very strong points, but while I was listening, it just occurred to me. I really wonder if she was a different hue. Let's just say if this Breonna Stewart would have got more coverage. Maybe. I really wonder about that. I think if she was white, I'm just going to throw Breonna Stewart because that's the name they kind of run with. And they basically, the league said to her, a team in the league said to her, you're pregnant. We got to so many words to get rid of you. I kind of wonder, bro. I mean, I could be dead wrong, but I think that plays a part. And you're right. It's a league that nobody cares about, whatever. And you're right too, Poon, that women don't pay attention. But that's my point. If you're going to stand up for some rights, you got to stand up for them all as a woman. I'm being honest with you. I mean, if you play basketball, because it can come to your job, you can get pregnant, your job can tell you, what, go home. We don't need you here. How chaotic is that? How backwards is that, realistically?
All right, your last question.
Yeah, my last question is, none of y'all want to hear this. Y'all don't want to hear it, but the Packers are talking about walking away from Aaron Rodgers?
No.
And trading him?
No.
Yeah, so your thoughts?
Black?
Here's another one. Who cares? I mean, at the end of the day, here's a man that can't win a playoff game anymore. I don't want to hear you won 2 MVPs. I don't want to hear that anymore. I don't want to hear that. I'm serious, man. And Green Bay, you were dumb enough to owe him $60 million this year. So if another team is dumb enough to take him off your hand for a year for $60 million, I would trade him too. I would. That's a lot of money if you get that quarterback, bro. For a team you know next year is not going to the playoffs. Playoffs? So of course. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like Aaron Rodgers, but it's getting to be sissified to me, bro. Every week something different with him. I'm tired. I don't want to hear this. I don't want to hear it. He goes on that Pat McAfee show. Well, I don't know. I may want to do this. I'm going to have a Snicker bar tonight. I don't care anymore. I don't care. I just don't care with Aaron Rodgers. I really don't. Every year, every week, he won 1 Super Bowl. He probably can't even spell Super Bowl since then. And they treat him like he's what? Super Hall of Famer? Let's get real. Aaron Rodgers, I don't care where you play. You still ain't going to the playoffs next year? And your dumb ass want to come to the Jets? Good luck, bro. Good luck. Because I'm telling you right now, when the media get done with you, you're going to wish you was back at Green Bay. Come on. Come on to the Jets. Come on, bro. Come on to the Jets. When the New York media gets done with that long hair flapping and you throwing bad passes, you're going to wish you was back with some cheese heads. Come on. Come on, man. Come on to the Jets. You're right. Come on to the Northeast. Come on. Bring that show to the Northeast. If you,
His arrogance knows no bounds, man. He's so arrogant. And we go through this every year.
Yes.
I don't know if I want to play. I don't know if they want to sit down and talk. What's there to talk about? You signed the contract. What's there to talk about? We got to do something. You know what a reason why they lost in the playoffs? You wouldn't practice with the players. You wouldn't get those young guys, coached up and all that. It was you. It's you. It's you. And so to go through this another season, I can see Green Bay. You should have did this 2 seasons ago. When you got Love, you should have did this 2 seasons ago and say, we're turning the chapter. We're going to go with this guy. But, Green Bay, you're part of the fault too, because you placated to this. You let him do this. You let him get comfortable. And now all of a sudden, y'all want to trade him now? Y'all want to go to a different direction? Good. And finally you woke up. Good. Because he's not going to take you there. So go in another direction. I think Favre did the same thing. Am I wrong? He was doing the same thing. And Aaron Rodgers fell into the same, I don't know if it's something in the cheese in there that you eat up in Wisconsin, where the quarterbacks kind of get arrogant, like they're the team. And so Green Bay, good. Move on. He's moved on. He's not really, to me, he's not really committed to that team. He's not committed to the players. He's not committed to what they're trying to do. So, move on. But at this particular point, the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs are in the Super Bowl. Don't care about Brady. Don't care about Rodgers. They're not relevant. They're trying to be the story, and nobody cares. Ice?
Yeah, it's one of them things that just makes you wonder. You get a guy like that has been playing for so long, and everybody's, reveres him in some way or another sometimes. But at the end of the day, it's like it's always been more or less about him. Because if I'm a quarterback and I know how we've been winning games, I'm going to make sure that I'm going to keep some people around me that can help me win. And when Devontae Adams just kind of walked out the door like he never belonged there, not even tried to say, yo, man, you need some more money? Let me come out this last year, that contract, which I may not be here anyway. Let me get you what you need so I can keep you. When he didn't even really try to, I don't even know if he talked to him or not, but it didn't seem like it. That's at that point, I'm like, you must think you really that damn good. And no quarterback. Well, you've been watching football a long time. There's been some really decent quarterbacks that then got their butts handed to them. Aaron Rodgers, you fall into that same, you might have more talent than some of them, but you're falling into that same realm. You think you can just lead everybody will run behind you and you can win despite having not a lot of talent on your team. That's not happening, bro. You're going to turn to You know, some people are too young to understand when Steve Young was on a bad team back in the day, when he couldn't win 2 games, you know, and wearing that them bad Tampa Bay uniforms before he evolved into getting to San Francisco. He lost a lot of damn games down in Tampa Bay. So you got to have, the point of it is you got to have people that work with you, man, to win games. And I don't know, if you stay in Green Bay, I don't think they're going to keep you there. If you go to the Jets, you probably messed that up too. I mean, I ain't saying the Jets is any good, but all I'm going to say is, I'm telling my one dude this, and it's probably my last second shout out to him too. I told you Gary Wilson was the best out of them Ohio State boys. Anyway, I'll leave that right there.
Let's go to our last second shot. Black, your last second shot.
Yeah, I spoke of the word Black Pride earlier, man. I don't know what happened to it. It'd be nice if we can get it back, especially when we look at what went on in Memphis recently, bro. I can't even make sense of that. I mean, there's a lot of stories floating around. I can't watch the video, but, you know, it pains me to know that 5 of us, it took 5 of us to beat the hell out of one black man. 5. I don't know, bro. I don't know where our heads are. We're barbaric. I just don't get it, man. That's some serious, deep, heated hate. Self-hate. Black hate. We stop looking at them, look at ourselves, because we hate each other. Let's be honest about it. We hate each other.
Ice.
Yep, I had something I was going to say otherwise, but I'm going to jump right back on that too. It's Black History Month. Think about it. As a man of color, African-American man, like I said, I'm not mad at anybody else that loves their heritage and your history, but don't be mad at us when we want to celebrate who the hell we are, because we've been through a lot of stuff, and a lot of people of color have been pushed down to the limit. So don't be mad when we celebrate a certain way that, you know, makes you jealous, make you feel some kind of way, because we got rhythm, we got talent, we like our music, we like all kinds of things too. Because if I was a little Hispanic too, I'd be doing the same damn thing. I'm keeping it 100. You got to celebrate who you are and not be mad about other people. So that's what I'm saying from that standpoint. You already know how it is. You already gave us only 28 days to really enjoy our history, right? The hell with y'all. I'm gonna tell you what, I'm gonna enjoy the history every day that I can throughout the year. Brothers and sisters, as that man said, talking about hating one another, ain't nobody got time for that. Because one thing we know is the factor that there's no days are promised, nothing's guaranteed. And so you should start looking in the mirror and trying to find out, well, how can you be better? And also love your people, man. Love your people. Because when they gone, one thing my daddy told me, when they gone, the motherfuckers gone, bro, and they ain't coming back.
I got 2 last second shots. Tony Romo, shut up. Diarrhea of the mouth. Yeah, you said it. You about to say it. I know what you were about to say. You about to say it. And that's not the first time you've done that. And also, put Brett Favre in jail. Put him in jail. Why is that story so quiet? Put him in jail. He stole money. Put him in jail.